Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, welcome to Greenville City Council, or what it is. Uh, At this time, we apologize for not getting off on time. Again, this is the first time I think I've ever had to say this in the X number of years, but due to technical difficulties, we're running just a little bit behind. But nonetheless, we think it is working, and welcome. So I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll. And the general public's notice who's not on TV or who's looking on TV. We have 9 people here in this facility. We're all spaced out and in more ways than one, perhaps. But we're trying to be as diligent as possible with the technical, the issues that are put before us. So we do have a lot of things to cover tonight, so I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll. And we have 3 members who are with us by video conference, and that is permissible under Ohio law now until December 31st. So, clerk, please call the roll.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Stogler.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Godwin.
Here.
Rowdy Shell.
Here.
I think we'll go ahead with the pledge, so if you all please stand, we'll do the pledge as best we can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Hey, thank you. Approval of the minutes. Before we get into that, there were a couple of revisions set out by the clerk regarding the summary of legislation. None of the legislation has changed, but there was a revision to the summary sent, and then I just received a second revision, which will be noted when the summary is read for the various resolutions and ordinances tonight. First of all, we have approval of the minutes. You all received copies of the last meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections? Anyone from the video conference have any additions or corrections?
No.
Okay, thank you. The voice is a little delayed, so I'll try to give you response time, so speak up as quickly as possible. And if at any time, please state your name and whatever you want to say, if you will, members, so I do appreciate that. If there are no additions or corrections, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Approval of the current financial report. You received copies of that. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion of Mrs. Howdishell to approve the current financial report. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Stogler.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Rowdy Shell.
Yes.
Okay, approval of the agenda. At this particular time, I have nothing to add or subtract from the agenda or to the agenda, so.
I got one comment.
Okay.
Under new business, the CIC still never had a meeting.
Oh, yeah, we will strike that from the, under new business. The CIC committee report, that's going to be removed for this particular time. Thank you, Mr. Godwin. I failed to note that. So, with that.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Stogler.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Rowdy Shell.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. So, now to members of the public who may be watching, if you care to call in and ask questions of this council or perhaps the administration, there is time available during the public hearing. And if you want to call that number, I think it's been posted, but I will reiterate it as 354-743-1. I only got three numbers on this. 131 what?
Isn't that the ID number?
Oh, that's the conference ID number. Okay. So if that is any particular people wanting to take part in the public hearing portion. We can give a few minutes for anyone wishing to dial in at that time. What I would do, if we do get any calls during the administrative reports, if any of you don't mind, we can break in with the public, okay, because I don't want to shut people out. That's not our intention. It is to give you as much chance as possible. So, but once we start the regular meeting of ordinances and resolutions, it's going to be difficult to have you break in, if you will, with any questions or comments. So thank you for your indulgence. We really appreciate it. This is something new for everyone, and therefore we will certainly try to make it work. And I especially want to thank Jeff Francis and Mr. Kitchen in the IT department for working this out, and for our Safety Service Director, acting Mr. Delk. They've done a tremendous job. As I said, it's a new territory, folks, so we're trying as best we can. Well, we'll go on with administrative reports, and I'll start with Mayor Willman, if you will, please.
Yes, thank you, Council President. What I have is a couple items, and first of all, we had an old committee report that I'd worked on for the aggregation of the city and the other cities involved in our group. I'll try to make it real quick. It's just a little explanation of what's happened and where we're at right now, and the reason that people have gotten the opt-out letters in the mail and the brochures that were sent to them. I'll just go through it quick here. Discussion on aggregation started in the summer of 2016. A representative AGE, which is Affordable Gas and Electric, and the mayor of Sydney, Mike Barhorst, which was a consultant for AGE, helped guide the city through the process of getting the question on the ballot and marketing program to the voters and launching the program once approved by the voters. So in November of 2016, 10 communities, including Greenville, passed the aggregation program to be able to start that and help the residents with their a little bit cheaper gas and electric. Early 17, the city entered into contract with Dynegy for a 36-month term, and the rate was 5.0529 kilowatts per hour. And then after that, they did a contract with Constellation for gas supplier for a term of 24 months, and that rate was 0.423 CCF, which is 100 cubic feet. In early 2019, we switched from Constellation to Volunteer Energy with a rate of 0.0371 CCF for a 24-month term from May 19 to May 31st of 2021. So now we're in the process of switching, which it's gotten to place now. This is April, so the new contract started in April, the first day of April, and now it will run for 20 months until from April 2020 to December of 2021. So that rate is 0.0488, which is a good bit lower per kilowatt hour. In 2018, AGE was able to bring Urbana, Ohio, under the contract of aggregation, and the plan negotiated was a 3-year term for them. Since the rest of the communities were still already under a contract, they had to renegotiate a combined plan for everyone in the group. So the new contract, and that's because we waited, so Urbana could kind of catch up to the end of our contract, and then they negotiated a new contract. So Urbana is now included in that. So that we just went to kind of an extension, and then they're part of the group. This brings us up to today. The reason for the brochures and opt-out letters being sent to all eligible residents and mercantile accounts will include the following. The residents that were already on the aggregation program will automatically get a new brochure and opt-out letter because the contract expired, and they'll start a new one. The residents that are on the DP&L default supply service, this means that if you were under a contract with another company and that expired, you automatically went to DP&L's default program. And also, so you would automatically be asked if you want to opt out, or you would automatically go in. So then merchant counts, also with the DP&L default supply service, they will also have the opportunity to get into the aggregation. And that's on a business rate, and that's only businesses that are that use less than 700,000 kilowatts per hour. All mercantile accounts currently participating in aggregation with Dynasty or Dynegy are also going to get opt-out letters and brochures. So that's already happened. So the one thing I want to point out right now is that the new contract has already started. If you have the brochures and opt-out letters, don't use those. You can use the brochure as a reference, but don't send in the opt-out letter. Just contact your AGE. You could call into the city. We'll give you numbers. Excuse me. And you can, but what will happen is it takes time now, since you weren't in the original contract. It will take a month or two in order to switch over. But it's a nice, safe, easy way to plan your payments, and you know you're going to get a good rate. So if anybody has any information, call into the mayor's office, City of Greenville. Okay, just want to say something to the people out there and the residents, the businesses in particular. Auditor Willman was working with the IT, Jeff Francis, to add links to the city's web page, which is out on the internet or on Facebook, I believe. And there are links, and they're going to add to those links to help small businesses find the information they need with the SBA grants, loans, and also to the health department. And also, we want to make sure that anybody that has suggestions, questions, please call into the city. Maybe there's something out there that we can do to help businesses and people out in the community. Let's make sure we're working together and help those in need, and pay attention to your neighbors, and make sure we're taking care of everybody. So that leads me to the last thing. I don't know if I have a little discussion maybe on it. I had sent out a letter to all the council and to the CIC, and I'd like to do something like a lot of other communities have done, to do something a little bit for our businesses. Now, maybe a little bit, but maybe a little bit that we can help, that will help some of those businesses survive this crisis that we're in. What I did was kind of copy what Hamilton had done, and there's a few things on there that aren't really a criteria that we would want to use, maybe, but I put it on there to those that have gotten the letter may want to. I put it on there like the credit card program in order to raise question, and to maybe to get somebody to have an idea that we could use other than that, because it's going to be hard for us to do this. Hamilton used their Chamber of Commerce. They have a city Chamber of Commerce. And so that was they were able to keep the money within the city and disperse funds through them. Now that money that I wrote down was $300,000, and that is money that they had, and I kind of figured that Hamilton's like 5 times bigger than us. So I was wondering hopefully, I thought maybe we could come up with 60,000, somehow. So I started looking around and thinking about some ways we could come up with money, and one of those was the community funds. We have the fireworks fund, which is, the city is normally donates 11,000. We have an extra 10,000 in the fund, in our community funds that we could use. That's another 10, and I hoped that the CIC could not only donate some more money, and originally I was going to ask them for another 10,000, and then have them also set up a panel so that they could be the ones that make the decision and distribute the funds. The credit card program I wrote down here that you got in your emails and stuff, that's how that works for them was just to, the chamber got the money, they distributed, set up a panel and distributed when but they had a little part to their program that the business, when they got money, they also agreed that the chamber could print gift certificates down the road someday when they open back up, and they would sell those to the residents, and they could use those at a later date, and then the chamber keeps the funds, because once the city distributed those funds out, it couldn't go back. So they started a fund, and then they can use that fund again to help more businesses and do things at a later date. So I just put it in there to see if it would raise any ideas or something maybe we could do. Now, I don't think our CIC is up to that. They couldn't do anything like that. But something to think about it. But this has got to happen quick. The longer we go, it's going to be too late for a lot of them. And I've said this, and we really need to get it done in the next week or two, and just get to the end point of distributing funds. So we would have to call a special meeting of the CIC to ask them if they're willing to help out, willing to set up a panel, maybe donate. And so then if the council decides that we would be able to do something like this, then we would have to have a special meeting to bring legislation forward in order to take those funds and put them into the CIC. So if there's anything else I missed on there, anybody have questions? How that would work?
How many businesses are we talking about, perhaps? Do you have any idea?
Well, not really, because all the plans that we have, I've read about, they've put a time limit to, once they put it out in the public that this is what they're going to do, there's a time where they just cut it off. And there's some businesses that they just don't get in because they just weren't in time. There's most of, well, no, I shouldn't say most because I don't know that, but there's the several that I've read. There are, I think Middletown has one where they're helping the nonprofits, but then the other three that I've read about, they've excluded them, and they've also excluded any business that has 400, one was 500, they have that many employees, then they're excluded too. So just to help the smaller businesses. So I didn't have any criteria. John asked me about it. I'm sorry, Council President Burkett asked me that do I have the criteria to bring forward? I said, I really want to know if the council is ready to do something like this, and then we can decide. And I really would think that I kind of wanted the CIC to be the ones that would bring that up, but maybe we would have to have something with council that criteria, and we can work on that when we get the approval from the CIC to see if they would help with this project. So I want to make it really simple. Maybe along the line of using our community funds form, and then maybe adding a little something to that as far as who's going to be able to receive funds. And there's a little bit on that form already, but we need to keep it simple so we can move forward pretty quick. So it's a little easier. And the panel that does this won't disclose which business gets money and how much. They will be the sole decider of that.
Would that be just businesses here in the city of Greenville?
Yeah, just businesses in the city of Greenville.
Small businesses, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Base here.
Small businesses, because we're not gonna,
Sure.
and I'm not sure how much money we're gonna have, and it's gonna go quick, and to make it to help a business, it's gotta be a little bit to carry them for a week, maybe 2 weeks or something like that for, it would be payroll, it would be utilities, be, whatever they put on their forms that they would need the money for. So, any other questions?
My question for members of the teleconference, were you able to hear pretty much that whole spiel?
Honestly, it's pretty difficult to hear.
That's kind of what I was wondering. And when I had talked with the mayor this afternoon about this issue, I know the idea of using something like the city of Hamilton. They have a city chamber of commerce. We do not here in Greenville. We could not give money to an entity like that. I think, defer to the law director and the auditor, that would be something that we could not do. Secondly, if we do anything, it would probably have to be legally through the CIC. And we have no parameters to go on because nobody has given us any, and I know that's what you said you need to get done. But until that's accomplished, to say, okay, these are the parameters and we need X number of dollars, or we can provide X number of dollars, I really think it's kind of premature to say, oh yeah, let's give them a bunch of money, when in essence, we are going to be shortfall in our own revenues because of this whole situation as well. And it's a catch-22, I understand that, but until we have something more specific to go on, I'm sure it's going to be tough to do. I don't know. That's my take on it. What do the rest of you think?
Well, I can tell you, I spoke with the director of the Hamilton Chamber, and the city of Hamilton appropriated the money before they even knew how much they needed. So there's precedent on that side. The city acted prior to knowing what the need would be. And I mean, John, I understand, I agree with you that it's a double-edged sword. The city has to be mindful of its own shortfalls that are going to be impending due to this crisis. But I will tell you, the crisis is going to be worse if you have half of your small business community go out of business. I think we as a city have to do what we can right now to support these small businesses. The city doesn't operate in a vacuum. We rely on commerce being done in the city of Greenville for the city government to operate. And I think we need to do what we can, and I agree with the mayor, the sooner the better. We need to do what we can now to make sure that we give some liquidity and a lifeline to these small businesses.
Anyone else?
I agree with Matt. I mean, when our businesses go under, the tax base goes, our income tax goes, sales tax goes, we're going to be just treading water for a long time. That's the reality of the situation. I hate to say that, really do.
So what do you propose doing? Meeting with the CIC first and coming up with something to deal with, and then we go from there?
I want to make sure that they can, whether they need to vote on whether they want to do it. And then we would have to, maybe, I think at that point, decide, we wouldn't have to decide how much money, but see how much money we can pull together at that time, because I think as a week or two goes along, there might be a little bit more money come in there. I mean, I'm hoping that a lot of the funds that I normally raise from businesses and private individuals, that they may go ahead and donate the amount that they normally do to the fireworks fund, that they would allow us to use those funds also. but we'll have to ask them. Some of them are businesses that maybe even might want their money back, so that doesn't make sense. But there's a few out there that could easily, or not easily, but may want to help us out. But then, yes, may ask the CIC for their approval to do it, set up the committee, set up the criteria, and then come back to council and do a conference call of emergency meeting. So hopefully we can get that almost done in the week, or at the first of the week, have the committee set up, and then they could, with like, before the end of next week, maybe they could even distribute the funds. So I'm just hoping that would work that way.
Do any members of council have a problem with that, the mayor proceeding in that direction?
No, I think it's a worthwhile idea.
Okay.
Just gotta get the parameters worked out.
Right.
I mean, but, yeah, I think you got a good idea.
Yeah, and that's one, I don't want to make sure that we're going in the direction that council wants to go. And I'll proceed with that. And I, like I said, I don't know how much money that would be, but the community funds is, yeah, funds that maybe we could have used, but it's really not in the budget. It's outside the budget that we would have used the funds. And also CIC funds that they wouldn't come back into the city. So if they would be able to donate some, that would be great also. So hopefully we'll work it out here quickly. But then I can let you know.
Okay,
Okay,
keep us informed. Is that it?
that's all I got. Yeah, question?
No.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President,
Yes.
do they realize that we can hear everything that's going on that's in the background?
I don't know.
Probably not.
It is, some of it is very distracting.
Okay. All right, moving on. Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk, if you'll come to the microphone there, and we'll let you do your report standing up tonight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to report kind of where we are as a city dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. So we are still we have about 10 employees working from home. They do have to come in the building every once in a while to get new supplies or materials, or there's some work that they're not able to do from home. But for the most part, we're doing that. The social distancing, we've really upped our sanitation and the cleaning portion of what we do here and over at the police department. The police department has implemented some criteria to keep their people safe and to sanitize all the cruisers when they do exchanges. Fire department, same thing. They've upped their cleaning, and we've purchased a lot of PPE type equipment. Same goes with water and wastewater. So we're still working that way. You know, the plan is until May 1 at this point, and we'll see what the governor says. We're following the Department of Health and the governor's recommendations, how we're moving forward with everyone. But for the most part, everyone is in good spirits and business as usual. We're still getting a lot done. People are still here to answer the phones and questions, even though we're not letting people into the building. We're still available by email. There's always someone in every office to answer phones. So we're trying to give the public the best possible service we can, during this time. So with that said, a couple things that we have going is I've asked all department heads to look at their budgets, and right now we're looking at trying to cut them by 20%, which is a lot when it comes down to it. I've started to receive a few of them back this week. I'd have asked that all of them get them back to me by tomorrow, and then I'll put together a report here at the end of the week and get with the auditor and the mayor and see where we go from here. But we're just trying to get ahead of everything, because there's so many unknowns right now, and see where that takes us. But that's something we're working on. The next thing is the Greenville Creek water main crossing started yesterday, so they're doing the directional boring portion of that. It's just getting started, so I don't have a whole lot to report on that. The downtown project is moving along rather nice. we've moved a lot quicker than we ever thought we could just because of all the businesses closed and not a whole lot of people to work around. So that's been great. So hopefully by the time this is over, we're ready to open up and those businesses can take off booming. We received bids today for our South Park project for the splash pad and the restroom renovations. All we did today was receive the bids. We have not did any kind of awarding or anything, obviously, because you guys have to do that. But so we did get those bids back. And the last thing I just wanted to kind of touch on was I was asked about item number 9 by a couple people today for the Waterworks Surplus Fund. And I just wanted to kind of give a brief report on what that is. I think there was maybe a little confusion. So what that boils down to is it's a state legislated audit requirement that in our surplus fund, we're saving back funds, saving back dollars. We have to name the projects that we're going to use that money towards. So like right now we get anywhere from 130 to 150,000 from a settlement, and we get that until 2035, and the difference is just because of the interest. So that money goes into that fund, so we just have to put down state mandated what we plan to use that money for going forward in the future. And that's all I have. I pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on, Law Director. Mr. Reeman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. It's been a busy few weeks since we were here last. It's been spending a lot of time dealing with the legal aspects of where we're at with this COVID-19 pandemic. It seems like every day as I'm in conversation with the administration, we're going to find out at 2 o'clock what we got to do for tomorrow. And so there's been a lot of changes. We're making sure that we're complying with both the federal and the state orders. But again, we're staying on top of that as best we can. It has impacted our employees, although we're an essential business, being city government. We've taken to heart trying to allow as many people to work from home as possible that can still do their work, to make sure that we're maintaining our social distancing, to really protect the first responders that we have, because we do share building space. So that's kind of been a full-time project. Kind of tying into that, one of the pieces of legislation this evening is for council to declare a state of emergency in the city of Greenville for the COVID-19. I wanted to just explain that a little bit. That doesn't change anything really that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. The main reason that we're coming to council and asking council to do that is it really opens us up for the potential for state and federal funding in the future. And so we're able to say that we've been impacted by this, and because of that, if they make state and federal funds available, it puts us in a queue to get those. Doesn't guarantee that we'll get them, but it helps us out in that process. And so it's not going to change anything that we've really been doing on a day-to-day basis, but that's kind of the motivation for doing that. One other piece that I wanted to talk about, there's also, and the auditor may touch on it briefly, throughout this process, our legal obligations don't change, and one of our legal obligations as a city is to deal with indigent burials. Every year we set aside about $2,000 to do that. It covers anywhere from 4 to 5 indigent burials for us. I think we've already had 2 this year, and we've been contacted by the coroner, and it's looking like we have the potential for 6 to 7 more right now. And then we will see what happens as this pandemic, if it does in fact run its course. So there is additional legislation to appropriate some funds for that. The hope and the goal is that we don't have to use them, but we want to make sure that we have that money available to take care of our obligation as a city. So the last thing that I will add is if anybody has any questions about the other legislation that we have or you have in front of you tonight, as always, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have from the legal aspects. So with that, I'll pass.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
For coming in. City Auditor, Mrs. Willman, are you on the phone?
I certainly am. Thank you, Mr. Council President. First, I'd like to commend all the city employees for going above and beyond during this nationwide crisis. All your efforts at keeping the city running smoothly are very greatly appreciated. We couldn't do it without you all working together. Secondly, I wanted to remind any city officials who have not filed their financial disclosure statement for 2019 with the Ohio Ethics Commission that the deadline has now been extended to July 15th. So if you have not done that yet, you still have some time to get that taken care of. Finally, and Mr. Delk already alluded to this, all the department heads are currently working on possible 2020 budget cuts in anticipation of the revenue reductions, which due to the COVID-19, we will certainly be facing. We will have, I'm sure we're going to have some revenue reductions as we move forward through this. But with all of us working together, we will get through this and be stronger for it. And with that, Mr. Council President, I pass.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for any of these from anyone? Okay, we have nothing under committee reports. Excuse me, now we'll start the rather arduous task of considering 11 pieces of legislation for this evening. And the first will be a supplemental appropriations ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020. This ordinance appropriates for funds in the various funds for indigent burials, elected auditor and treasurer in the amount of $8,000. These funds are needed to cover additional indigent burials due to the COVID-19 pandemic. CIP transfers elected auditor and treasurer in the amount of $52,319.05. These funds are needed to cover the city's portion of the 4th Schweitzer reconstruction project. New equipment downtown in the amount of $11,510.85. These funds are needed to cover the cost of new trash cans. Capital improvements, wastewater reserve in the amount of $1,157,000. These funds are needed to cover the cost of the Clara Fire replacement project. Roadway enhancement, CIP in the amount of $52,319.05. These funds are needed to cover the city's portion of the 4th Schweitzer reconstruction project.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Howdy Shell.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020.
Motion to accept.
Move to adopt.
You
Mr. Rogers?
didn't hear that,
Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, but Mrs. Howdishell beat you to it. So motion by Mrs. Howdishell to adopt. Discussion. I would have a question for the auditor. I know the transfer, under the transfer from elected auditor and so forth, jumped from $8,000 to $52,000 in both the roadway enhancement and the CIP transfers. Could you explain that a little, please?
Yes. We originally had been in discussions with the Ohio Public Works. We had some additional funds left over that we were in the process of asking them to pay a portion of the ODOT, the final bill that we received. And we were originally told by them that there were funds available that were left that we could use. And we just were notified yesterday by the Ohio Public Works that those funds are not available to us at this point. So where we thought we would be able to use the additional amount that we had left in that grant toward this. They have decided we cannot have it at this point.
Okay, so we have to appropriate $104,000 more.
No. The one is just to transfer it from the general fund over to the CIP, and then the amount in the CIP it just need to be appropriated to that account.
Oh, okay.
It's just moving it from one to, it's half that amount, so.
Okay.
I mean, it's just the 52.
Right.
It's not the 104.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion or questions? Call the roll, please. Motion is to adopt.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
Next, we have a transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. This ordinance transfers funds in the general fund as follows. Equipment repairs, city building, to gas, oil, and vehicle maintenance, city building, in the amount of $1,200. These funds are needed due to the extra sanitization of the city buildings.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on that ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville.
Move to
Move
adopt.
to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Rogers. Was that you?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt. Discussion?
Is that gonna be a monthly thing, or is that gonna,
What's that?
for the $1,200 for the cleaning?
The additional money?
Yeah.
I would defer to the whomever for that, or the safety service director.
No, we don't feel that'll be a monthly thing. That's just to get us through for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
Further discussion? Okay, the motion to adopt, correct?
Mhm.
Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
And next, we have a resolution declaring an emergency in the city of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak.
A resolution declaring an emergency in the City of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. This resolution declares the City of Greenville has been or is immediately directly affected by the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and the need to protect the citizens of the City of Greenville and public safety forces and medical personnel is required. All public offices and employees of the City of Greenville are hereby directed to exercise the utmost diligence in discharge of duties required for them for the duration of the emergency and the execution of emergency laws, regulations, and directives, state and local.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution a reading by title only for the second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
A resolution declaring an emergency in the City of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. A resolution declaring an emergency in the City of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak.
Motion to accept the emergency?
Does that have an emergency?
Uh-huh.
Not this one.
No, there's no emergency.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Motion to accept the.
Yeah, motion to accept.
Okay, motion to accept, adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
And next, we have a resolution authorizing entering into contract with ODOT for acquisition of road salt.
A resolution authorizing entering a contract with ODOT for acquisition of road salt. This resolution authorizes the mayor and safety service director to enter into contract with ODOT for the acquisition of road salt through the joint purchase program.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing entering a contract with ODOT for acquisition of road salt. A resolution authorizing entering a contract with ODOT for acquisition of road salt.
Motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Wow. Next, we have an ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 105410, County Route Section DAR SR, State Route 118502, and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 105410, County Route Section DAR SR 118502, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into contracts with the Director of Transportation to complete the bridge maintenance and repair on structure file number 1903128 DAR SR 502 08.99 in the city of Greenville, and this ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and give this ordinance a reading by title only, the second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 105410, County Route Section DAR SR 118502, and declaring an emergency. An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 105410, County Route Section DAR SR 118502, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt the emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Is that Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion. Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
We need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
When, Safety Service Director, when would this take place?
Summer.
This summer?
This summer. Yeah. We have to submit the resolution to ODOT saying that we agree to it, and then they will do it in the summer.
Okay.
I don't know the exact dates, but I can find that out for you.
Okay, no, that's fine. This isn't something that's down the road in 2023 or anything like
No,
that.
nope.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Next, we have an ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 113070, County Route Section, DARSCS, fiscal year 2021, and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 113070, County Route Section DAR CS FY 2021, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into contracts with the Director of Transportation to perform the crack sealing on various routes in Dark County, including a portion of US 36, straight line mile 1257 to 1289 and 1302 to 1308, more or less, as well as a portion of US 127, straight line mile 1316 to 1334, more or less, in the city of Greenville. And this ordinance has an emergency clause.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 113070, County Route Section DAR CS FY 2021, and declaring an emergency. An ordinance consenting to ODOT PID number 113070, County Route Section DAR CS FY 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt the emergency.
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion? Call roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a resolution accepting Broombach Construction Incorporated bid for the Wagner Avenue widening project.
A resolution accepting the Broombach Construction Inc. bid for the Wagner Avenue widening project. This resolution authorizes the mayor to accept the bid of Broombach Construction Incorporated for the Wagner Avenue widening project.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution a reading by title only for the second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
A resolution accepting the Broombach Construction Incorporated bid for the Wagner Avenue widening project. A resolution accepting the Broombach Construction Incorporated bid for the Wagner Avenue widening project.
Motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
Did this project come under budget?
I do not know. A question for the Safety Service Director. Did this project come in under budget?
Looking right now, I knew you were going to have that question. Yes, so the engineer's estimate was $1,867,567.25, and the bid came in at $1,487,182.
Okay.
Thank you.
Further discussion or questions? Okay, the motion's to adopt, correct? Okay, call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance authorizing a settlement agreement regarding alleged property damage at 1468 Cedar Street and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance authorizing a settlement agreement regarding alleged property damage at 1468 Cedar Street and declaring an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the mayor to enter into a settlement agreement to settle a dispute that property damage was caused by the city of Greenville at 1468 Cedar Street. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules to give this ordinance a reading by title only, second, third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
President Burkus,
Yes.
this is Doug.
Yes.
What kind of damage was done?
The motion, can I make a point of order, sir? The motion right now is to suspend the rules. Your question would be more appropriate a little later, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Have you called the roll to suspend the rules? Okay.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Dogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdy Shell.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing a settlement agreement regarding alleged property damage at 1468 Cedar Street and declaring an emergency. An ordinance authorizing a settlement agreement regarding alleged property damage at 1468 Cedar Street and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt the ordinance?
That's the emergency.
Oh, motion to accept the emergency
Motion
clause.
to adopt the emergency clause by Mr. Whitaker. Discussion on the emergency clause. Call the roll.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Dogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdy Shell.
Yes.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the ordinance. Now, Mr. Wright.
Can I now ask what this damage was at the property at 1468 Cedar Street?
Okay. The law director has that information.
Yes, it's been a busy month and a half or so, but you may recall that we had an executive session about a month and a half ago regarding pending litigation, in which I gave you some facts about some alleged property damage that was causing flooding at the property on Cedar Street. We had negotiated a potential settlement, which in our opinion would protect essentially from having to do investigative digging in Cedar Street since it's been repaired. And so this is that discussion and everything coming to fruition and formality. The city admits no guilt or no fault in doing anything, but this resolves it and makes sure that the city doesn't have any potential exposure going forward.
That answer your question?
Thank you, Mr. Ullman.
Pardon?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to adopt, right? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Dogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdy Shell.
Yes.
And number 9, ordinance to amend ordinance 17-93 in order to update projects in the Waterworks Surplus Fund.
An ordinance to amend ordinance 17-93 in order to update projects in the Waterworks Surplus Fund. This ordinance amends ordinance 17-93 to accumulate $2,610,846 over a 10-year period into the Waterworks Surplus Fund.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second, third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Dogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdy Shell.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend ordinance 17-93 in order to update projects in the Waterworks Surplus Fund. An ordinance to amend ordinance 17-93 in order to update projects in the Waterworks Surplus Fund.
Motion to adopt?
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the ordinance. Discussion?
I do have one thing on that. This is the one you were referring to earlier, right?
Correct.
So we put a plan in place, so they need to know what our intentions are.
Correct.
If something along the line comes up, a bigger emergency,
We can change that. Yes.
that's all I needed to know.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Further discussion or questions? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
No.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-1. Now, number 10, regarding, resolution regarding water supply services in Greenville related to the coronavirus/COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency.
A resolution regarding water supply services in Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency. This resolution declares the city of Greenville has been or is immediately directly affected by the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak, and they need to protect the citizens of the city of Greenville, and public safety forces and medical personnel is required. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution reading by title only for the second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules and read the resolution with titles, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
A resolution regarding water supply services in Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency. A resolution regarding water supply services in Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt the emergency clause?
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Motion to adopt?
Motion by Mr. Godwin, excuse me, to adopt. Once again, this is trying to protect the citizens of Greenville, right? Is with the water situation and the law director's coming to the podium here. Okay.
Yeah, so the last two ordinances that you have in front of you are codifying on the local level what's been put in place at the state level. So this particular ordinance says that we're not going to shut off anybody's water, that we're going to reconnect water supply for anybody who has been shut off, and then we're not going to charge any fees during this process. And again, that's to ensure that all the citizens have a safe water supply. So. And the last one codifies in Resolution 11 to kind of get ahead of it, save me a trip back up. It moves the tax filing date to July 15th from April 15th.
Right.
People still have a water bill that's accumulating. It won't be shut off, but they'll still have a bill.
That is correct. It does not waive, and it specifically states that in the ordinance. It does not waive any of their actual bill. It doesn't charge them a late fee, but they will be responsible for their overall bill at some point in time. So we do encourage everyone who's able to continue to pay so that you don't have a huge bill coming out of this. But if for whatever reason you are unable to pay, we're not going to shut your water off.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? So we have what, a resolution to adopt?
Yep.
Okay, we've adopted the emergency, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, resolution is to adopt. Call the roll, please.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Stogler,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Audi Shell.
Yes.
Okay, and finally, number 11. Thank you for your indulgence as resolution moving the income tax filing date in the city of Greenville related to the can't even say it. Toronto, gee, Yeah, the virus and the COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency.
A resolution moving the income tax filing date in the city of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency. This resolution states the State of Ohio Tax Commissioner Jeff McLean announced the state filing deadline will be extended to July 15, 2020, and the city of Greenville is affected by this. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Motion to suspend the rules and read this resolution by title first and second time, or second and third time.
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to suspend the rules and read the resolution by title second, third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Stogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdeshell.
Yes.
A resolution moving the income tax filing date in the city of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency. A resolution moving the income tax filing date in the city of Greenville related to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak and declaring an emergency.
Move to do.
Rogers, move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Stogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdeshell.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Stogler?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Howdeshell.
Yes.
That was number 11, right? All right. Excuse me. Nothing under old business. Under new business, we have one is that liquor permits, notification of expiration of all liquor permits on June the 1st, 2020. Is that just a notification that we're being sent by the police chief?
Yes, and
Okay.
then I have a letter.
Okay, read that, please.
Dear Clerk, I have reviewed the list of liquor permit holders which you provided to me. I currently have no objections to the renewal of any liquor permits within the city of Greenville. If you have any questions, please contact me. Chief Steve Strick.
Mr. Law Director, I don't think we have to do anything with that, do we?
We never.
That doesn't come up until June the 15th, correct?
That's correct, and these are just the standard yearly renewals, so I don't believe there's anything additional to do, but I will confirm that for us.
Okay, so unless anybody wants to request a hearing on any of those, it would, excuse me, it would have to be on an individual basis per permit, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so if you have, and that's not until June 15th, so if you have any concerns or questions, please bring them before that time.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Wow. Moving right along. Any communications?
We received the monthly reports of January and February from the public transportation. We received the monthly report of March from street, income tax, and fire.
That's it? Well, the members of council on the teleconference, again, thank you for your indulgence. I would just say this, you know, this is the first time, it's all new, and again, thank the IT department for all of their hard work on this whole thing. And as we go through the call down of council, please make sure you speak up so we can hear what you're saying, and I hope you've been able to hear us as well. So call down the council, please.
Rogers?
Yes, in watching it on TV here, I think if most of you, if we have to do this again, maybe lean in toward the mic a little bit further so we can hear you. Some of them have softer voices, and it doesn't pick up quite as good. So I don't know whether that'll help the situation or not, but it's worth a try if we need to do it again. And everybody, I hope, is staying safe and healthy. And we will come out of this. It's just unfortunate that we're going to have to cut some things and et cetera because of the revenue not coming into the city. So, hopefully the citizens and everything will bear with us, and we will come out of this strong. And so stay healthy out there, and I pass.
Schmidt?
Well, I'm sure I'd leave someone out, so I'm just gonna make this kind of broad, but, I know there was a lot of work that went into putting this thing together tonight, so everyone that was involved with that, thank you for making that happen. We do appreciate it for allowing us to get this done. I know there was a lot of information there that needed to be taken care of, so please stay safe, and I will pass.
Stogler?
I want to thank the mayor for putting this concept of support for our small business community together. I hope that the CIC, I agree with the concept of empowering the city CIC to be that organization to administer those funds, and I hope that the city CIC takes that task seriously and will meet quickly. And I hope my fellow council members understand the dire situation that we are in. Most of our small businesses have not seen a dime from these SBA loans. They have not come through. We need to marshal the full support of the city's finances to save these small businesses, and it has to happen quickly. It has to happen quickly. So I hope that can get done. I hope every dollar from the community funds, dollars from the general fund should be on the table. We should be really getting this done and done quickly. So I appreciate the mayor's support and continuous work on that. So with that, I will pass.
Woodacre?
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Councilman Stogler just said. We need to move quick. If we don't save, if some businesses go under, that's just revenues that we don't get. I think I've said that before. So that's that. We just need to move quick. Want to thank Jeff Francis for all his work on this. This is a first, like, everybody's acknowledged. We're in uncharted territory here, and everybody's doing a great job with the city, and I certainly appreciate that, as well as the efforts of every citizen that I've seen out and about. Whenever I have to make my trek to the grocery store, I can see a lot of people wearing masks and making all efforts to stay 6 feet apart and try to recognize this virus as a serious threat. So we're going to get through this. It's going to be tough, and I just want to reiterate, too, that, this is going to be a long haul as far as getting past this thing. We were moving very well as a city, and then this hits, and then now all of a sudden we're going to be looking at cutting funds here and there and community funds because that comes from the bed tax, and there's nobody traveling, and it just is going to really snowball, and I think that the citizens are going to have to realize that when we talk about projects for the future. So with that, I pass. God bless everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Right?
I'd like to thank Mr. Reelman for the job he's done for the city and for the citizens of Greenville. Mike, you're doing a great job. The street department has done a fantastic job on the Broadway project. I went down there a couple times, walked area, and it's looking real good. The IT department, I want to thank them for making the sound happen tonight. I wish I could be there, but I'm not going to take a chance because of my lungs, and I will pass.
Godwin?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the IT department and thanks Ryan for helping get this thing set up. And thanks for people tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, whatever this is on. And with that, I'll pass.
Howdy, Shell?
I'll make this short. I want to echo everything that everybody here has said. And citizens of Greenville, be safe, and we will get through this and be stronger. And I pass.
President Burkett?
Again, thanks to all of you for your indulgence, and thanks to the members of council who were on the call, and also the auditor, and I think Mrs. Davis, the deputy auditor, are you on? Maybe not. I thought she was going to be tuned in, but anyway, we do appreciate everyone's indulgence with this whole thing. Excuse me. If we have to do it again, we will, and hopefully it'll be a little better. Once we've tried it, we can work the bugs out. Mr. Rogers' suggestion, get a little closer to the microphone. Some of the voices carry, some of them don't as well. So we appreciate that. And again, we'll make it work. And I thank you all for your time and energy. And please, please be safe. Don't take chances. And with that, I'm going to don my mask and go home.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mrs. Howdeshell. Thank you all. Call the roll.
Rogers?
Yes.